Hey, you, how are you really holding up this holiday season? No, seriously, I am talking to you because I need to know. I need you to tell me, is it just me or does every single session feel so fucking heavy right now? That emotional weight and stickiness that sneaks in every December, it is here. Just the other day, it straight up felt like I slid off my chair into a puddle on the floor after just 3 sessions. And even though I don't really talk about my work at home, I had to tell my husband what it was like that day, how super drained I was from what would have been a pretty light clinical day otherwise. And it's not just clients who are needing more. Your friends, your family, they're all needing more. And not just in tough ways, in beautiful ways too. Like my kids, they get so excited about decorations and they just want to take lap after lap around the neighborhood at night. To things like there was a recent death in my family and it keeps reverberating through all of us because it happened during the holidays. Okay, before I get further, I do want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Jenny Hughes. I'm a trauma psychologist and founder of the Brave Trauma Therapist Collective, which is an online community for trauma therapists where we help you get your energy back and feel confident in your work again so that you can end the day with something left for you, unlike being a puddle on the floor like me the other day. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Today, I am going to talk about what it takes to survive this season as a trauma therapist because there's nothing wrong with being a puddle on the floor. It happens, but it doesn't have to happen day after day. That's when a lot of problems start, right? And before I get into it, I want to hear from you first. What's been feeling the heaviest for you this month? In your work, your life, anything is fair game. Put it in the comments. I read every single comment and I respond because it matters to hear your voice. And I know this season hits all of us differently. Okay, so let's start with my first of these 5 tips. The first tip is to call a thing a thing. Name exactly what December does to our nervous systems. Now, you've probably already noticed it, right? Your clients are showing up way more activated. There's more grief, more urgency, more I have to get through the holidays energy in the room, in your therapeutic space. But what we forget sometimes is that our systems are in that same soup. This time of year, it messes with everything. You are not immune, okay? Your sleep is messed up, your rhythm, your sense of spaciousness. Even just driving around and seeing the lights, hearing the same songs, walking into stores that smell like cinnamon and nostalgia. It's all sensory input. And for trauma therapists, that input can pile up fast. For me, I do my best to check in with my body as much as possible. I'm not perfect, but especially this time of year, because otherwise I'll sit down for a session and later realize I've basically been holding my breath for a whole hour, or my shoulders are up by my ears before I've even logged in. So, to stay on track with meeting my own needs, sometimes before a session, I will literally stop and ask myself, okay, Jenny, what's your nervous system doing right now? Because if I don't name it, it ends up running the show. And I am a puddle day after day after day. And that shit adds up. So that's your first survival tip. Name what this season does to your nervous system. Not to fix it. That's not why you're naming it. Not to shame yourself for being tired or overstimulated. Just name it. Simply because noticing, oh, my chest feels tight or I'm holding tension in my stomach again means that you are regulating. You're reminding your body, hey, I'm paying attention. I hear your signals. We're in this together. Okay. So, as you move through this stuff, just check in with yourself, okay? So, that can be between sessions, between holiday events, even between breaths. Ask yourself, what is my system doing right now? Okay, time for tip number 2. Expect slower progress. I know it's super frustrating when clients suddenly lose momentum right before and during the holidays. You're showing up, holding space, doing good work, and then suddenly your clients are canceling or they're in survival mode, or it feels like every session is looping back to square one. I hear so many therapists say, it feels like I'm not helping right now. I'm not helping anymore. And I get it because I feel that this time of year too. You heard me talk about my recent week already, where every single session was heavy, not in a crisis way, but in that everything hurts and I can't move it forward kind of way. That was tough, but here's what I've learned over the years. Slower progress isn't regression like we're so often taught, right? It's more likely stabilization, especially in the context of December's gravitational pull. Your client systems are overwhelmed, their bandwidth is so limited, they probably don't have the emotional capacity to dive deep. And honestly, neither do you. And that's not a problem unless we make it a problem. When we label that slowness as stuck, we start to internalize it as something that we are doing wrong. Guess what happens to your client, too? So, what if you reframed it? What if instead of we're not getting anywhere, it was we are maintaining, we're maintaining safety while the world feels chaotic? Sometimes that's the most therapeutic thing that you can do. Hold steady while everything else wobbles. Here's a quick reframe that helps me. When I feel that frustration creeping in, I remind myself, do not mistake reflection for failure. Because sometimes your clients are quiet because they're integrating. Sometimes you're quiet because you're protecting your own capacity. And all of that's okay. That's the work. So if it feels like your sessions are moving through mud right now, just let them. That stillness can be super healing, and you don't have to accelerate during a season that's designed to slow you down anyway. All right. So we've talked about how the season pulls at your nervous system and slows everything down. Now, let's talk about what happens when we keep pushing anyway. Because if we're honest, most of us don't just feel the pull, we ignore it. I'm so freaking guilty of this, okay? We rearrange our lives, we fill every empty space in the calendar, and try to hold it all together for everyone else. And that's going to bring us here to tip number 3. Protect your bandwidth like it is part of the treatment plan, because it is. Your capacity is not a luxury, my friend. It's a clinical variable. And when you're depleted, it changes how you attune. It changes how you think. It even changes how your nervous system reads safety cues in the room. And yet, so many of us are still scheduling like we're robots, saying yes to extra sessions before the holidays, staying late to squeeze in just one more, opening up time between client crises and holiday chaos. And then what happens? Clients cancel, they no show, they forget. And we're left sitting there with that quiet resentment that sounds like, I fucking blocked off my whole afternoon for this. I've done it. You've done it. Every therapist watching has done this. One of our members in Brave actually just shared this perfect example during a call right before Thanksgiving this year. She shared how in the past she would keep her Monday, her Tuesday, her Wednesday open before Thanksgiving, wanting to make sure clients could get in before the break and going home with all the family craziness. And every year they all canceled. And so she decided this year, nope, I'm done pretending I don't know how this goes. She took the entire week off. And when she came back, she said, that was the most restorative week I've had all year. Now, I know not everyone has that flexibility, but we can all learn from her mindset. If you already know half your caseload is going to cancel or check out, build that into your schedule. So instead of bracing for it, right? Don't rearrange your family's plans for sessions that probably won't actually happen anyway. Don't create availability out of guilt, because when you carve out space for other people who don't show up, you send your own nervous system the message, my needs come last. And this is not to say that we're not creating space for our clients. It is about protecting your bandwidth. And protecting your bandwidth doesn't mean that you're not dedicated. It means you're practicing what you preach. You would never tell a client to override their capacity, so don't override yours. Protecting your time and energy isn't selfish, it's good clinical work. And it's the kind of professionalism that keeps you human. All right. And now that we've talked about creating space in your work, let's talk about creating something for you. I'm not talking about some big, elaborate self care plan that's going to add more shit to your to do list anyway. I'm talking about one small, repeatable ritual that reminds your body that you exist outside of your client's trauma work. For me, that ritual is getting outside between sessions. Even if it's just for 2 minutes, I walk in my backyard, or if I can, I walk my dog. I breathe actual air. I feel my feet hit the ground. And I remind myself, hey, I have a body. I'm still here. It's not a fancy ritual, it's not aesthetic, but it's what keeps me from feeling like I'm living my life in these 50-minute increments. And I used to think rituals had to be productive. I had to journal, I had to do something that looked like growth. But now I get it. Rituals are to regulate, they're not performative. So think about what yours could be. It could be stepping outside like me, or maybe sitting in your car in silence before you walk into the house. It could be making a cup of tea before your last session of the day and actually drinking it while it's hot. Your nervous system doesn't need you to overhaul your schedule for this to work. It just needs proof that you still matter. If you can, let's just try something together real quick. Close your eyes. Take one slow breath in and notice what softens in your body when you picture yourself doing whatever the ritual is that comes up for you. That moment right there, that's the whole point. It's not about doing more, but remembering that you exist outside of what you hold. And that leads right into my last tip, because even with rituals and boundaries, this work still gets heavy and we can't carry it alone. And even when you have your rituals, when you are aware of your bandwidth, you are checking in with your body, the season gets heavy because trauma work isn't meant to be done alone and in isolation. And I know it can be hard to reach out. I'm terrible at it, even though I run a fucking community for trauma therapists. Okay. We've been taught to self-contain, to hold it all together, to not burden anyone else with whatever we're carrying. But this work is cumulative. And as you know, you're a trauma therapist. It feels good to help someone else. Okay. And you can be the most regulated therapist in the world, but December will still find a way to hit you right in the chest. So that's why knowing who you can turn to matters. I know it sucks. It sucks. It's scary to ask for help, but people want to give back to you too. And when I say community, I'm not just talking about a Facebook group that makes you feel worse after scrolling. I mean people who actually get it. People who see you not as a therapist, but as a human being doing holy and exhausting work. Inside Brave, that's what I get to see every single week. Therapists showing up for each other in real time. Just today, actually, in our chat, people were sending each other little check ins. Hey, how's everyone holding up? Right? Is anyone else feeling tapped out? Are you okay after all those storms by you? Yep, a member actually checked in with me because we had tornadoes around here recently, and she wanted to make sure that we were okay. And can I just let you know, for them to remember me and to be thought of, it was such a simple act on their part. And it's one that's deeply meaningful. And it's the best way to illustrate what I mean when I say brave is where you get to be human as a trauma therapist. what could be more human than that, than being thought of and having someone tell you? Okay. So if you want to know more, the link is in the description as always to join us to check things out. And be sure to reach out and share with us here in the comments about what's heavy on your heart and let us know the simple ritual that you're going to try out. I can't wait to see you connect in the comments.